Hello everyone and welcome to Anka's Kitchen. Today we are having a masterclass for strawberry chocolate macarons based on French meringue. I want to inspire you to make exquisite and delicious macarons, the classic most popular French dessert, and we'll make them using just the hand mixer. The recipe for macarons is easy. There are just a few ingredients needed, but in order to be successful, we need to follow an exact technique. So in this video, I will share with you all my secrets in order for you to be successful in making these finicky cookies. So let's get into it. We start with the dark chocolate ganache because it needs to set for 12 hours before we can use it. For the ganache, we need whipping cream, chocolate, salt, butter, vanilla pod, and glucose syrup. The chocolate I am using is fleur de cacao from cacao berry and is 70% cacao. We take the cream and place it into the saucepan on top of the glucose syrup. We cut the vanilla pod and scrape out the seeds. And we place the seeds into the pot. We also cut the pod and we add it to the cream as well. We place the saucepan on medium heat and we bring the mixture to a boil. We remove it from the heat and we cover it with cling film in contact and we let it infuse for 20 minutes. After 20 minutes, we remove the cling film and we bring the cream to a boil again. In the meantime, we place the chocolate into a jug. Once the cream is hot, we remove from the heat. We also remove the vanilla pods. Then we strain the hot cream over the chocolate. We let it sit for 1 minute and then we mix with a spatula to combine. In order to get a smooth and shiny texture, we blend. We let the ganache cool to 35 degrees Celsius before we add the butter. Once the ganache is 35 degrees Celsius, we add the butter and then we blend again. After blending, the ganache looks so smooth and glossy. Now we pour the ganache into a clean bowl and we cover it with cling film in contact. The ganache can set at room temperature if lower than 20 degrees Celsius. We just need to take it out of the fridge 3 hours before piping it on the macarons. Next, we make the strawberry confiture. For the strawberry confiture, we need strawberry puree, raspberry puree, diced strawberries, sugar, pectin NH, lemon juice, and glucose syrup. We place the strawberry syrup over the glucose syrup. We also add the raspberry puree and the diced strawberries. And we place on medium heat and we bring it to 35 degrees Celsius. In the meantime, we mix the sugar and pectin NH, and then we add it gradually into the puree mixture, stirring constantly. We bring the puree to a boil, and we boil it for 30 seconds. Then we add the lemon juice, and we stir to combine, and then we remove it from the heat. We place our confiture in a clean bowl and we cover it with cling film in contact and we place it in the fridge for 2 hours to set. Now we can make the macarons. For the macaron batter, we need egg whites, almond flour, powdered sugar, citric acid, egg white powder, and red water-soluble colorant. We start with my first tip for best results when making macarons. So my first tip is use only fresh eggs and separate the egg yolks from the egg whites one at a time when the eggs are cold. It's easier this way and the best way to avoid getting any egg yolks in the rest of the egg whites, which could totally ruin our meringue. My tip number 2 is to measure all the ingredients using a scale. For smaller quantities, I use a little scale that measures accurately even ingredients less than a gram. Tip number 3 is use egg white powder and citric acid for a more stable meringue. Another tip is to use high-quality water-soluble food colorant, either powder or gel. We mix the egg white powder and the red colorant. We add the citric acid as well. And we add them to the egg whites while mixing with a whisk. My tip number 5 is to allow the egg whites to reach room temperature before whipping. So for that, we set them aside for 20 minutes and at the same time, the egg white powder will hydrate. In the meantime, we can prepare the dry ingredients. And my tip number 6 is to always sift the almond flour and the powdered sugar together before adding them to the meringue. Also, my tip number 7 is to use super fine almond flour or to process the almond flour and the powdered sugar into fine powder so that we can get smooth macaron shells. After the 20 minutes, we can make the meringue using the hand mixer. First, we whip till the egg whites form a light foam. Once we get a light foam, we can start adding sugar gradually. I add it in 4 parts. After adding all the sugar, we continue to whip till the meringue is very stable and glossy. But we want to make sure to not overwhip, otherwise it will turn grainy. And this is actually my tip number 8, to whip the egg whites till we get very stiff, stable peaks that do not move. Now check out our ready meringue. It's glossy, smooth, stable, just beautiful. Now we can add the dry ingredients. We add them all at once and we fold them in to combine. We combine well till the dry ingredients are well incorporated, and now we got to a very important step, which is the macaronage. And my tip number 9 is to take enough time for the macaronage, which is the way in which we work our batter, in order to get a smooth and glossy batter. Essentially, we want to get rid of air pockets and have a smooth batter. We spread the batter with a spatula like we would apply peanut butter on toast. This might take 2 to 2.5 minutes. I prefer a thicker batter over a thinner one. The batter is still a little too thick, so we just spread it a few more seconds. We got to tip number 10, which is to continue working the batter till it's flowy and comes off the spatula like a ribbon. Now our batter is done. It's glossy and nicely flows off the spatula. Now we place a round tip into a pastry bag. And we put the macaron batter in the pastry bag. We cut the tip of the bag and we are ready to pipe. With one hand we hold the end of the bag and with the other hand we hold the tip. We want to work quickly, and here's my tip number 11. To pipe the macarons perpendicular to the tray, holding the tip with one hand and steadily squeezing the bag with the other hand. We pipe the macarons onto silicone mat over a tray turned upside down. In this way we make sure we do not block the heat in any way while baking. My tip number 12 is after piping, shake the silicone mat to even the surface of the macarons and to get rid of any air bubbles. Tip number 13 is to pop any remaining air bubbles using a toothpick as soon as we are done piping. Before they are starting to dry, we try to smooth out the surface as much as possible, otherwise we would leave marks. My tip number 14 is to use a stencil if this is your first time making macarons, because it serves as a guide to make sure there is enough distance in between the macarons. And tip number 15 is that if you are using a stencil, always remove it after piping. Now we can prepare to bake the macarons. We preheat the oven to the inside temperature of 338 degrees Fahrenheit or 170 degrees Celsius. This is why my tip number 16 is so important. Use an oven thermometer. This is the only way to know the exact temperature in the oven. Tip number 17, it is important to let the macaron shells dry at room temperature till they form a skin and they are not sticky anymore. In my kitchen, the temperature is 77 degrees Fahrenheit or 25 degrees Celsius and humidity is 49%. My macarons are ready for baking after 30 minutes. We place them in the oven and we lower the inside temperature to 302 degrees Fahrenheit or 150 degrees Celsius. And we bake them for 14 minutes. My tip number 18 is to bake on middle rack, one tray at a time. The macarons are done and we can check for doneness trying to move the top of the shell. If it's not separating from the macaron feet, they are done. And tip number 19 is to remove the silicone mat from the tray to stop the macarons from overbaking. In the same way, we bake the other macarons. My tip number 20 is to not remove the macaron shells from the silicone mat till they cooled completely. We sacrifice one macaron shell to check how they look inside. It looks beautiful and properly baked. We find matching macarons and we get ready for filling them with the chocolate ganache and strawberry confiture. We remove the cling film from the ganache. I love how creamy it is. We use a round tip in a pastry bag and we cut the tip and then we place the ganache into the pastry bag. We set the ganache aside while we prepare the strawberry confiture. We take out of the fridge our strawberry confiture and we remove the cling film. Using a fork, we mash it. And then we place it into the pastry bag. We cut the tip of the pastry bag and we are ready to fill our macarons. First, we pipe some ganache onto a macaron shell that we turned upside down. Then we pipe a little bit of strawberry confiture in the center. And then we cover it with the matching macaron shell. And we press slightly so that the ganache spreads, but not too much. We do not want the ganache to come out. We do the same with the rest of the macarons. My tip number 21 is to place the filled macarons in an airtight container and place them into the fridge for 12 hours before consuming. This time is needed to obtain the best taste and texture. In this way, they will be more tender and chewy inside. Here we have our beautiful macarons. Let's cut one to see how they look inside. I cut just the shell on both sides because my macarons are at room temperature and they are very tender. They look so delicious, don't you think? Here I have my beautiful macaron and I'm ready to try it. This macaron is so good. I like the crunch when you bite into it and then it's chewy and soft on the inside. I love the strawberry flavor in there. You guys will love it too. Try my recipe, follow my tips, and I'm sure you guys will be successful as well. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure you leave me a like and subscribe to my channel if you didn't do so yet. Thank you again and I will see you next week with another video. Bye!